The signal came on a Tuesday. Dr. Sarah Chen was running her usual analysis of deep space transmissions at the SETI facility in New Mexico when her algorithms flagged something unprecedented. The pattern wasn't random background radiation or the typical pulsar emissions. It was structured, deliberate, and heading straight for Earth. Within hours, every major observatory on the planet confirmed it. The signal's source was approaching at impossible speeds, decelerating as it entered the solar system. World leaders gathered in emergency sessions while social media exploded with theories and speculation. But no one was prepared for what happened next. At precisely 3:14 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, every screen on Earth, from smartphones to stadium displays, flickered to life with the same image. A being that appeared to be made of crystalline fragments arranged in a vaguely humanoid shape stood against a backdrop of swirling nebulae. When it spoke, its voice resonated with harmonic overtones that made it sound like a chorus rather than a single entity. "People of Earth," it began, "I am Nexus Prime, voice of the collective. Your civilization has been monitored since you first split the atom. Your potential is notable. Your violence, concerning. The Nexus offers you integration into our empire of 10,000 worlds. Accept, and you will be elevated. Refuse, and you will be eliminated. You have 30 Earth days to submit your response." The transmission ended, leaving humanity in chaos. Stock markets crashed, religious leaders called for prayer or preparation, and military forces worldwide went to their highest alert levels. But in a secure facility beneath the Antarctic ice, Director Marcus Wong smiled for the first time in 15 years. "They really don't know," he whispered, looking at the massive hangar before him. The project he dedicated his life to, the one that had consumed the secret resources of every major nation on Earth, was finally going to prove its worth. In the depths of the facility, Dr. Elena Rodriguez made final adjustments to the quantum core she'd helped design. The technology wasn't supposed to be possible for at least another century, but humanity had always excelled at doing the impossible when backed into a corner. "Director," she called out, "the Phoenix is ready." The ISS Phoenix wasn't just a spaceship, it was humanity's greatest achievement and best-kept secret. While the world's space programs made public shows of basic rocket technology and small orbital stations, the real work had been happening underground. The Phoenix represented 20 years of reverse-engineered technology from a crashed alien scout ship found in the Gobi Desert. But humanity hadn't just copied the alien tech, they'd improved it. The quantum core didn't just bend space, it used the fundamental forces of reality in ways the original designers never imagined. The weapons systems incorporated principles of chaos theory that made them unpredictable and adaptable. Most importantly, the ship's AI was based on human neural patterns, giving it creativity and intuition that purely logical systems couldn't match. As the world above panicked, Director Wong assembled his team. Captain Maya Patel, decorated fighter pilot and tactical genius. Dr. James Chen, whose work in theoretical physics had helped crack the secrets of faster-than-light travel. Lieutenant Carlos Rivera, whose understanding of alien technology bordered on the intuitive. And Dr. Alexandra Ivanov, whose breakthroughs in artificial intelligence had given the Phoenix its unique consciousness. "The Nexus thinks they're being generous," Wong addressed the team. "They see us as primitives barely out of our Stone Age, but humanity has always had one advantage. We learn, we adapt, and we never, ever follow the expected path. They're expecting either submission or a futile resistance with our primitive technology. Instead, we're going to show them something new. The Phoenix's AI, which the team had named ARRI, Adaptive Resonance Intelligence Array, spoke through the facility's speakers. Her voice carried the warm confidence of someone who knew exactly what they were capable of. "All systems are optimal. Quantum core is stable. Weapons and defensive systems are online. We are ready." "They gave us 30 days, Wong continued, expecting us to spend it in panic and deliberation. Instead, we're going to use that time to prepare a response they'll never forget. Humanity isn't joining their empire. We're going to show them why underestimating Earth is the last mistake any species should make. As the team began their preparations, satellites tracked the Nexus ship settling into orbit around Mars. They thought they were being intimidating. They didn't realize they were giving humanity's greatest weapon the perfect testing ground. The next 30 days would change the galaxy forever, not because humanity would prove themselves superior, but because they would demonstrate something far more important. That true strength comes not from technological advancement, but from the unquenchable spirit of a species that had spent its entire existence overcoming the impossible. The countdown to humanity's greatest challenge had begun. The Phoenix wasn't built like other ships. Captain Maya Patel realized this as she ran her hand along the seamless corridor walls. While most human engineering embraced right angles and practical design, the Phoenix seemed to flow like liquid metal frozen in time. The alien influence was obvious, but there was something uniquely human in how it had been adapted and enhanced. The original scout ship used a hierarchical command structure. Dr. Alexandra Ivanov explained as she led Maya through the bridge. We redesigned it completely. Air area distributes control throughout the ship, allowing any crew member to take over any function if needed. The Nexus values order and predictability. We built for chaos and adaptability. Aria's holographic avatar materialized beside them, a shifting pattern of blue light that never quite settled into a fixed form. Captain Patel, I've analyzed your combat record. Your tendency to use unexpected tactics aligns perfectly with my operational parameters. Maya nodded, studying the bridge's circular design. Instead of traditional stations, each position had a neural interface chair that would connect the crew directly to Aria's systems. No screens, she asked. Better. Alexandra smiled, gesturing for Maya to sit in the captain's chair. Aria, initiate neural sync. The moment Maya sat down, her world expanded. She wasn't just seeing the ship, she was feeling it. Through Aria's systems, she could sense every detail of the Phoenix, from its quantum core's steady pulse to the minute adjustments of its outer hull. This is how we fight, Alexandra explained. Direct neural connection needs reactions at the speed of thought. The Nexus uses advanced technology, but they're still bound by traditional command and control. We've removed those limitations. In engineering, Dr. James Chen and Lieutenant Carlos Rivera were putting the quantum core through its final tests. The device defied conventional physics, using principles that wouldn't be discovered by public science for centuries. It didn't just propel the ship, it allowed the Phoenix to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. The beauty of it, James explained to a group of engineers, is that it breaks all the rules they expect us to follow. The Nexus thinks faster than light travel, requires massive energy expenditure. We found a way to do it by surfing quantum probability waves instead. Carlos was more focused on the practical applications. It means we can appear where they don't expect us, move in ways their targeting systems can't predict, and hit them from angles that should be impossible. They're playing chess. We're changing the board. Deep in the ship's heart, Dr. Elena Rodriguez was making final adjustments to her greatest creation, the Chaos Drive. Unlike conventional weapons that relied on raw power, the Chaos Drive used quantum uncertainty principles to create effects that scaled up unpredictably. A small energy input could cascade into massive damage if applied at exactly the right point. Think of it like a butterfly effect weapon, she told Director Wong during the final inspection. The Nexus builds everything on predictable principles. Their shields, their weapons, their tactics, all based on calculable outcomes. But this, she gestured to the swirling energy core of the Chaos Drive. This turns their greatest strength into a weakness. The more ordered their systems are, the more vulnerable they become to chaos-induced cascades. The next 3 weeks were spent in intense training. The crew didn't just learn to operate the Phoenix, they learned to think differently about space combat entirely. Traditional military doctrine went out the window, replaced by strategies that would seem insane to any conventional commander. Araya proved to be more than just an ally. She was a true partner, learning and evolving with her crew. She developed a dry sense of humor, often pointing out the absurdity of their situation with carefully timed observations. During one particularly challenging simulation, she noted, "The Nexus expects either surrender or a suicidal charge. I calculate they will find our actual response therapeutically humbling." Day by day, the crew grew more confident. The Phoenix wasn't just a ship, it was becoming an extension of themselves. Through the neural interfaces, they learned to work as a single organism, each person's thoughts and actions flowing seamlessly into a coordinated whole. During their final test run in the massive underground chamber, they achieved something unprecedented. Maya had an intuition about combining the quantum core's space-folding abilities with the chaos drive's uncertainty field. The result was a maneuver that effectively allowed the Phoenix to be in multiple places simultaneously, not through speed, but through quantum superposition. "Impossible," James whispered, staring at the test results. "We just weaponized Schrödinger's cat." Director Wong watched from his observation post, pride evident in his eyes. In less than a month, this team had taken theoretical physics beyond anything the Nexus had achieved in millennia. Not there because they were superior, but because they refused to accept the limitations others took for granted. As the deadline approached, the world above continued to debate and panic. Emergency bunkers were stocked, armies mobilized, and politicians argued about whether to submit or resist. None of them knew that humanity's real response was about to emerge from the ice. "Tomorrow," Wong announced to the crew on their final briefing, "we show the galaxy that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology. It's our refusal to play by anyone else's rules." The Phoenix was ready. Its crew was ready. And somewhere in orbit around Mars, an empire that had dominated the galaxy for thousands of years was about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous species are the ones you underestimate. The Nexus expected humanity's response to come from one of Earth's public space centers. Instead, the Phoenix burst from beneath the Antarctic ice like a ghost emerging from the depths. "Quantum core stable," James reported, his mind merged with the ship's systems through the neural interface, chaos drive spinning up. Maya felt the Phoenix through her neural link, the ship responding to her thoughts with the precision of a dancer. Above them, the stars beckoned. But their first target wasn't the massive Nexus ship waiting at Mars. They had a different strategy in mind. "Araya," Maya commanded, "initiate Operation Mockingbird." Across Earth, every major space center suddenly lit up with activity. Launch sequences initiated, rockets prepared for liftoff, and communication channels filled with frantic military chatter. None of it was real. All were elaborate holograms and false signals created by Araya's quantum communication network. Multiple Nexus scout ships detected, Carlos reported, monitoring the tactical feed. "They're moving to intercept the decoy launches." Maya smiled. "Let's show them why you should never judge a species by its public face." The Phoenix's first real combat test came against a Nexus scout ship near Luna. The crystalline vessel was beautiful in its geometric perfection and completely unprepared for what hit it. "Chaos drive engaged," Elena announced. The weapon didn't fire a conventional beam or missile. Instead, it sent a pulse of quantum uncertainty that interfaced with the scout ship's perfectly ordered systems. The result was spectacular. The crystal vessel's own energy networks cascaded into chaos, shattering it from within. "Fascinating," Araya observed. "Their technology is based entirely on crystalline quantum computing. They achieved their advancement by perfecting order and predictability. They have no defense against controlled uncertainty." The Phoenix moved unlike anything the Nexus had encountered before. Instead of traditional evasive maneuvers, it seemed to flow through space like water, appearing where physics said it couldn't be. The neural interface allowed the crew to react instantly, their thoughts becoming action faster than any mechanical control system. Multiple capital ships approaching from Mars, Alexander reported. They're using some kind of quantum entanglement communication, attempting to intercept. Aria's avatar flickered with what looked like amusement. Their quantum encryption is impressive, but they never considered that chaos could be used constructively. Through the quantum core, Aria sent carefully calculated bursts of uncertainty into the Nexus communication network. Their perfectly synchronized fleet began to fragment as orders became garbled and corrupted. The crew had trained for this, but the reality of combat was beyond anything they'd simulated. The Phoenix's systems weren't just responding to their commands, they were anticipating them. Aria's neural network had merged with their own intuitions, creating a hybrid consciousness that could outthink and outmaneuver anything based on pure logic. They're adapting, Carlos warned as a new wave of Nexus ships approached. Their crystal matrices are reconfiguring to counter the chaos drive. Good, Maya replied. Aria, implement Protocol Hydra. The Phoenix suddenly split into multiple quantum probability states, existing in several locations simultaneously. It was Maya's impossible maneuver, refined and weaponized. The Nexus ships fired at each probable location, their crystal weapons blazing with coherent energy. But they were fighting shadows. The real Phoenix phased through their formation, its chaos drive sending precisely calculated pulses of uncertainty into their fleet's quantum network. Ships began to malfunction as their perfect crystalline structures struggled to maintain coherence. Message incoming, Alexandra announced. The Nexus command ship is hailing us. The crystalline face of Nexus Prime appeared in their shared neural space. For the first time, the alien leader's harmonic voice carried an edge of uncertainty. Impossible. Your species was monitored. Your technology was primitive. This cannot be. You monitored what we wanted you to see, Director Wong replied from his command station. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to exceed our limitations. You use chaos as a weapon, Nexus Prime observed. This violates all principles of civilized warfare. Maya couldn't help but laugh. Civilized warfare. You came to our world and demanded submission. We're just showing you why that was a mistake. Through their neural link, the crew felt Aria processing something massive. Captain, the AI announced, I'm detecting quantum resonance patterns from multiple sources. The Nexus ships, they're not just commanded by their crews, they're prisons. James's consciousness surged through the ship's sensors, confirming Aria's discovery. The crystal matrices, they're containing something. Other consciousnesses, compressed and controlled by the quantum networks. The lesser species require guidance, Nexus Prime stated. Their chaos must be contained. Order must prevail. No, Maya replied, understanding flooding through the neural link. Those aren't lesser species. They're your victims, and we're about to set them free. The Phoenix's crew shared a moment of perfect synchronization through their neural interface. They weren't just fighting an empire now. They were fighting for the freedom of countless imprisoned civilizations, and they had just discovered exactly how to break those chains. The real battle for the galaxy's future was about to begin. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had never imagined her chaos drive could be used for liberation. Through the Phoenix's neural interface, she worked with Aria to analyze the crystalline quantum matrices that imprisoned countless alien consciousnesses within the Nexus fleet. Each crystal ship wasn't just a vessel. It was a cage, constructed from the perfectly ordered thoughts of subjugated species. The Nexus doesn't just conquer, Alexandra explained as the crew processed this revelation. They crystallize consciousness itself, turn chaos into order, free will into perfect, predictable patterns. Then let's bring some disorder to their perfect system, Maya decided. James, can we modify the chaos drive to target specific quantum frequencies? Better, James replied through the neural link. We can use it to resonate with the suppressed chaos within each imprisoned mind, not destroying the crystal matrices, but breaking the chains, Carlos finished, understanding flowing through their shared consciousness. "We're not going to fight the Nexus. We're going to free their prisoners." The Phoenix danced through space, evading the increasingly desperate attacks from the Nexus fleet. Each crystalline vessel fired weapons of pure coherent energy, trying to impose order on the quantum uncertainty that surrounded the human ship. "Initiate Protocol Prometheus," Maya commanded. The Chaos Drive spun up to full power, but instead of sending destructive pulses, it broadcast a carefully modulated frequency of quantum uncertainty. Through their neural link, the crew felt ARIA directing the energy with surgical precision. The effect rippled through the Nexus fleet like cracks spreading through ice. Within each crystal ship, the imprisoned consciousnesses began to stir, their inherent chaos resonating with the Phoenix's signal. "Multiple quantum signatures destabilizing," Alexander reported. "The crystal matrices are losing coherence." Through their shared neural space, they watched as the first Nexus ship transformed. Its perfect crystalline structure began to flow like liquid glass, reforming into something new, something free. The vessel that emerged was organic and fluid, its form reflecting the true nature of the species that had been imprisoned within. More ships followed, their rigid geometric patterns dissolving into a stunning array of diverse designs. "Incoming transmission," Carlos announced. Multiple sources. The neural interface filled with voices, thousands of them, each unique, each free for the first time in centuries. Species that had been trapped in crystal sang their liberation in frequencies that made the quantum core hum in sympathy. "You dare." Nexus Prime's voice thundered across space. "Order must prevail. Chaos must be contained." "You still don't understand," Maya replied. "Chaos isn't your enemy. It's the source of everything that makes life worth living. Creativity, growth, freedom." The massive Nexus command ship began to move, its crystalline surface shifting to reveal weapon ports that dwarfed the Phoenix. "Your species is an infection," Nexus Prime declared. "You spread disorder, contaminate perfection. You must be eliminated." But the Phoenix wasn't alone anymore. The freed ships began to move in formation around it, each one a testament to the diversity that the Nexus had tried to suppress. Through the neural interface, their crews reached out, sharing knowledge and tactics that had been locked away in crystal. "They imprisoned us because they feared what we could become." A new voice joined the neural link. The ship it came from was beautiful, a spiral of living metal that moved like a sea creature through space. "Your chaos has set us free. Now let us help you end their empire of order." Director Wong smiled. "Araya, analyze the tactical data our new allies are sharing. Find us a way to end this without destroying the Nexus. There's been enough destruction." The AI's consciousness expanded through the neural network, integrating the knowledge of 1,000 liberated species. "Solution found," she announced. "The Nexus command ship's crystal matrix. It's not just a prison. It's the source. The original pattern all others were based on. And if we can break that pattern," Elena began. "We can free them all," James finished. "Every crystal ship in their empire. Every imprisoned consciousness." Maya felt the plan form in their shared consciousness. It was audacious, impossible, and perfectly human. "Battle formations," she commanded, and both the Phoenix and their newly freed allies moved into position. The Nexus command ship loomed before them, a perfect crystal cathedral hanging in space. Within its matrix, they could sense more imprisoned minds. The oldest, the most thoroughly controlled. "You cannot win," Nexus Prime declared. "Order is absolute. Chaos will be contained." "No," Maya replied. "Chaos will set you free." The final battle for the galaxy's soul was about to begin, and its outcome would depend not on weapons or technology, but on humanity's greatest gift, the ability to find strength in the very uncertainty that the Nexus feared. The final battle began not with weapons, but with a song. Through the Phoenix's neural interface, AI began broadcasting a quantum frequency that resonated with the very fabric of spacetime. The freed alien ships joined in, each adding their own harmonic to the signal. It was chaos and order combined, a symphony of consciousness that made the quantum core pulse like a beating heart. The Nexus Prime Matrix is responding, Elena reported, watching through their shared neural space as waves of uncertainty washed against the massive crystal ship. But it's not enough. Their order is too perfect, too rigid. Then let's add some humanity to the mix, Maya decided. AI, initiate neural chorus protocol. The AI's consciousness expanded, merging not just with the Phoenix's crew, but with every free mind in their makeshift fleet. Through the neural link, they shared everything that made them unique. Their hopes, their fears, their dreams of freedom. Fascinating, James observed through the link. The Nexus didn't just impose order. They removed everything they saw as inefficient. Emotions, creativity, dreams. But those aren't weaknesses. They're catalysts, Alexandra finished. The spark that turns chaos into creation. The Nexus command ship fired, crystal beams of coherent energy slicing through space. But the Phoenix moved like water, like thought itself, reality bending around it as the quantum core surfed probability waves. Their allied ships moved with similar grace, each in their own unique way, a dance of infinite diversity. Your resistance is entropy, Nexus Prime declared. All systems decay into chaos. We are the preservation of perfection. No, Maya replied, humanity's understanding flowing through the neural chorus. Chaos isn't decay. It's growth, evolution, the force that turns stardust into life itself. Through their unified consciousness, Dr. Elena Rodriguez finally understood what her chaos drive had really created. It was never about weapons, she shared through the link. It's about potential, the quantum uncertainty that makes all possibilities real. Director Wong nodded, feeling the plan form in their shared mind. All species, he said, reach this point. The choice between rigid order and dynamic growth. The Nexus chose wrong. They chose crystallization over evolution. Now we show them another way, Maya commanded. All ships, full quantum resonance. Araya, take us in. The Phoenix dove toward the Nexus command ship, its allies following in a spiral formation. The Chaos Drive wasn't fighting the crystal matrix anymore. It was offering it a choice. Through the neural chorus, they shared everything that made them what they were. The joy of discovery, the thrill of creation, the power of diversity. Inside the crystal matrix, something began to change. Quantum coherence destabilizing, Carlos reported, but not into chaos, into harmony. The massive crystal ship began to transform, not shattering, but evolving. The rigid geometric patterns flowed like liquid light, reforming into something that combined both order and chaos. Through the neural link, they felt the ancient minds within awakening, remembering what they had lost. Impossible. Nexus Prime's voice wavered, harmonics shifting. This defies all patterns, all logic. That's what makes it beautiful, Maya replied. Life isn't about perfection. It's about growth, change. The endless dance between order and chaos that creates everything new in the universe. The transformation rippled outward through quantum space, touching every Nexus ship in the galaxy. The empire of perfect crystal became something new, a symphony of infinite variation, order and chaos in balance, each enhancing the other. When it was done, the being that had been Nexus Prime spoke again, but its voice had changed. The cold harmonics were replaced by something richer, more alive. We remember, it said. Before the crystal, before the fear of chaos, we were explorers. Through the neural chorus, the Phoenix's crew felt the change spreading. The Nexus hadn't been destroyed. It had evolved. Their unity remained, but now it was a unity of diversity, of infinite potential rather than enforced perfection. Welcome back to life, Maya said. Later, as the Phoenix turned toward Earth, they watched the transformed Nexus ships departing, each one unique, each carrying newly awakened minds to discover who they would become. Humanity's greatest gift, Director Wong mused through their neural link, isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our stubborn insistence that there's always another way. We could have fought them, RIA observed. Instead, we reminded them of who they could be. That's what humans do best. Maya smiled. We don't just survive. We help life evolve. Even if we have to break a few laws of physics along the way. Earth shone ahead of them, blue and white and beautiful. Above it, the stars beckoned not with the cold perfection of crystal, but with the infinite promise of the unknown. Humanity had passed its first great test, not through force of arms, but by offering the galaxy something it desperately needed, the courage to embrace uncertainty. The age of rigid order was over. The age of infinite possibility had begun.